Golf's simple when you're hitting out of the fairway or on the tee box or even on the green, but not always are we going to find ourselves in those type of situations. What happens when you find the rough, the light rough, the bunker, all sorts of different lies? Maybe you found some mulch somewhere on the course. Let's go in and explore what happens. Let's head to the course and go experiment, and where better to do it than this week's event at Bay Hill. So here we are at Arnie's course, and the first thing you're going to want to know is where you're finding your lie penalty, which you'll find in the top right corner. As you see, I am on the tee box, so there really is no repercussions for a lie penalty. Let's say we hit one maybe into the heavy rough. Here we are. We now have a heavy rough lie. See this percentage in the top right hand corner of your screen. It is 79 to 86%. So how are you going to play that? Well, what that really means is that is going to affect, that's going to be how far the ball carries based on your lie. So if you have, for example, a 100-yard club, so roughly as my sand wedge, right? It'll be between 80 and 87 yards, maybe a little bit less because this isn't quite the 100-yard club. But we need to get to 130 yards. If I take a 7-iron, which I have here, which normally carries 153 yards, we're going to take probably a middle number here, let's say 80%, and 80% of 150 is roughly about 120 yards. So if we look at this, 120 yards would carry us to about a little bit short, about here, right? And maybe with the wind, it'll push it forward. Let's take a look at what the lie penalty says when we turn that on. So if you go into difficulty, you can turn on the lie penalty. We predicted this will carry about 120. In actuality, it's going to carry about 118, so it must be playing a little bit on the lower end. And as we expected, it's going to be a little bit short, so we're actually going to need a club up further unless we overpower this particular shot. The other thing to take into consideration when you are reviewing your lie penalty is the actual spot your ball is in as far as downhill, uphill lies, side lies. Here I'm pretty flat. You can see all this grid. It's slightly uphill and slightly right to left. You may, if you have this grid on, which some societies do in the standard settings will have, if it goes to yellow or orange or red, then you're going to significantly have to play that. So we'll show another example of that when that occurs. Here's a perfect example on the second hole at Bay Hill of that side lie. Now let's take a look at this. I still do have that camera on. I want to turn it off for just a moment so we can analyze this together before we give us the pro vision, which will tell us a little bit more. So if I am looking straight up at the lie that I am on, you will see this grid is significantly left to right. So this is going to shoot off a little bit to the right. We're going to need to aim a little bit further this way. It's also uphill a little bit, so we're going to need to aim a little bit longer than we normally do as well. We also have a heavy rough lie of now 68 to 75%. So once again, we'll take the middle number of this. 70% of 28 is roughly 21 yards. So that's where I'm going to anticipate this thing to carry. And let's see what happens here. Or, well, you know what? Let's go to the Pro Vision and see what this calculates out to. All right, as expected, it's right around that distance, 19 yards. So we can tell, because in addition to having the percentage penalty, which was 68 to 75, if my memory is correct, we also have to account for the uphill lie. So that uphill lie is probably going to take another yard or two off and make us play down towards that lower end of the spectrum. And it's not showing how much this is going to go left to right, so I'm going to aim a little bit further left here, and we're going to play this. And look how far right that ends up going. I don't hit the correct tempo, but we're pretty close to right on line. One other important part about that shot is that it was out of the heavy rough, as was our first shot, and because of that, it's going to have less overall spin on the shot. And as you saw, that one was able to roll out from 19 or so yards where it landed to a couple feet past the hole. And now we're able to, if we actually hit it, we'd be able to make that up and down. All right, now we're on the third hole at Bay Hill. Now we're hitting out of the sand. So once again, similar sort of statistics here, or math rather, 74 to 82%. So we're just going to take roughly a middle number, let's say 80% of a 200-yard club is going to be about 160 yards. That's a little bit too far, so maybe we'll shave off a little bit and hit this club. Once again, though, we're going to also need to account for the lie underneath the shot. You really can't see anything here, even though I'm trying to hold the grid, and that's because we're in the bunker. You will see on the side, just a little bit to the left of my character, is that you will have the grid lines going down towards me and a little bit left to right, and you can actually visually see this a little bit. This ball is going slanting away from my body, so this is naturally going to want to go right. It's naturally uphill a little bit too. So let's add one at a time. So if we have a 188 shot with about an 80% carry, I'll do this math right here for you on screen. 188 times, let's say 0.79. So that should be a little bit more in the middle, right? 0.78. This should carry about 146 yards. So let's see when we go back into the game how much this is going to actually carry when I put on the Provision. Lie penalty. About 153 is actually what it's going to carry. So it's going to be on the higher side. There's going to be some variation, so it's going to be difficult to exactly gauge what it should be. Before we get to the last piece of information, just want to say thank you for watching this, and if you do enjoy this, consider hitting that subscribe button below. It's really going to help out the channel, and if you're interested in watching me play my competitive rounds, I do stream on Twitch. You'll find my Twitch link in the description below. It is Kilbride10, and I stream those every Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern. I also do co-host a podcast called Red Fast Review, in which we discuss this golf game among many other sports genre things. So let's get to that last tip. So you are in the fairway, okay? You may think, oh, this is easy. It's going to naturally carry the yardage I need to be. So 245. One thing to consider is it's not always going to be a perfect fairway lie, as you see here. 96 to 99%. So if I actually press start and I get that lie penalty in here, go down to lie penalty, it takes 5 yards off. That 5 yards could be the difference, if there was no wind here, between me being in that bunker and me being over that bunker. So it's very, very important that you look at your fairway lies as well. And one thing that's going to be important as you play this game is the driver off the deck. So the longest club that you can hit in this game, the driver, just like in real life. However, driver off the deck, as in the fairway, you are going to have a large dispersion. It's not going to be 100%. So I'm not going to be able to carry my driver 296 like I normally do off the tee. It's a very difficult shot, and you'll notice my swing plane meter is very, very narrow compared to where it normally is. So 83 to 86%. The thing to consider is this is just carry. This will roll out a significant amount, and you can have a drastic change in lie with your driver off the deck for a fairway shot. Could be low 80s, could be nearly 90% lie. You could just have that perfect propped up lie. So if we do this for the 296 club, let's turn on the lie penalty, see where it should carry. 252, that seems about right. Let's give it a rip. And because we knew the lie penalty was going to affect that 3-wood and probably not carry that bunker, we have now almost hit that green and under regulation. Thank you guys once again so much for watching. Next week we're going to be talking about shot shaping. See you guys there.